in the community and get them answered, because when they were here in 2006 they did not answer our question.
Pipelines are going through the river and we do not like them because
it'll kill the steelheads.
It'll kill the steelheads and it can kill a lot of wildlife and just main supports, and we support not doing this because we raft a lot and that's our best thing to do, and it's really fun, and we're going to miss Shady Cove if it blows up.
Because I am opposed to this pipeline for many, many reasons. Safety is a main concern, the river, the land, the rape of our country and our Upper Rogue area. I am very opposed to their safety practices, the frack-outs. There's a whole lot of issues that I don't like about it in general, and many in particular.
And I want to find out, I'm concerned about the safety issues because the rural residents don't get the same protection that the big city dwellers do, and that the wells aren't checked as much, and the pipe is thinner. That's what I understand. It's not odorized, but when it gets to the big city, then they do all those things.
What do you suppose that's about?
Evidently, we're not as valuable as city dwellers.
How's that possible?
I don't know. It's a government thing, I guess.
And that's partly why you're asking the question, right?
Absolutely.
And I am a property owner, which makes me concerned, but I'm not a property owner where the pipeline is going. But what I think is that once they can do that through somebody's property, they can do it through mine as well.
That's right.
And so that's why I want to nip it in the bud.
Right, I mean, and if we don't support each other as neighbors,
exactly.
we're totally lost.
The costs are way too high. Particularly the fish. I'm worried about the impacts of crossing rivers. And I think it's a step in the wrong direction. I think we need to work more toward energy independence and not being dependent on foreign countries. Since the Middle East and Russia have over 80% of the natural gas in the world available for export, I just think that's just a real mistake for our country to go in that direction, and I'd like to see renewables and conservation be our primary focus.
And you know, Oregon is an award winner in sustainability and conservation.
I don't know where they're going to get the gas, and I don't think they know either. Right? They may not be able to, like some of the other ones, get the gas contracts, but you have the Rocky Mountain Basin, which is in the Midwest, loaded with gas. There's 3 proposals for pipelines to come west from there, and one of the proposals, the Sunstone, which is Williams, is a part of that. It makes the most sense. It goes along existing right-of-way and follows another pipeline, and it would bring more gas into our state than the entire state uses in a year. So why wouldn't you not go domestic gas, which is going to be cheaper? You don't have a terminal and all the hazards with the terminal. You use your own domestic supply, so you're not dependent on foreign energy.
Right.
That makes so much more sense.
I think I have a couple of questions. I'd like to be able to direct them to someone here that's representing the pipeline.
I said safety was.
Well, then, if that was the case, then the pipeline we wouldn't even be here.
Well, let me convey. There's other modes of transportation for energy, and pipelines are the safest mode of transportation.
If you're so terribly concerned with safety, why is 8% of this pipeline crossing private property when it could easily, although it would cost you more to traverse more public lands, why doesn't it go over public land?
Biggest single reason this route was chosen was it places the pipe in the best integrity it can be in. It's the most solid ground. If you're talking about the existing Williams line coming down the I-5, first off, it doesn't come through. It stops north of Grants Pass.
There's a pipeline, according to the federal government, that goes right now from Coos Bay to Roseburg. It hangs a right at I-5, comes down I-5, and between Canyonville and Grants Pass, it dodges off just to the east of I-5. At Grants Pass, it's under I-5. It's under I-5 all the way into Central Point, and then into Talent, where it splits off. Part of it goes to Ashland, the rest of it goes across, goes right on over to Cascades, and goes to, guess where? Malin.
Already.
There's an existing...
Bonanza, I'm familiar with that.
Close.
We studied, I think, every route you just spoke.
Will you provide for our county and local authorities for emergency responses?
That's yet to be determined.
My question is, what is the pipeline trench digging technique called double ditching? And when will you be using it, or will you be using it for the entire 230 some miles?
Usually the term double ditching has to do if you're in areas of agriculture. It's typically a term for saving topsoil, to make sure the topsoil is
That's what
clean.
this is in regard to.
I want to know if the pipeline is going to be odorized.
No,
Why?
And why is that?
because it has a natural petroleum byproduct smell to it anyway, so there wouldn't be any advantage to putting an odorant into the pipeline. It wouldn't make
All
it.
of your brochures say that it's odorless and colorless.
Theoretically it is, but it has a natural petroleum byproduct.
Do a horizontal directional drill. It'll be about 40 feet below the river.
You're going to go through that rock?
You're saying that he's just said that this pipe will be drilled by horizontal directional drilling.
Under the river.
Under the river.
Yep.
What happens when there's a frack out? Does anyone know what a frack out is?
Because the Bush-Cheney Energy Act of 2005 created a federal commission that gave the oil companies this window of opportunity. And the laws in Oregon, I mean, we're famous throughout the country for our environmental activities, but the truth is the state laws are weak. And so the oil companies are coming through here so that, because this is their window of opportunity, that a lot of us live here is because this kind of stuff isn't here.
Exactly.
We don't have this kind of stuff. My brother's in San Francisco making money. On a good month, he makes my wages for 3 years. But if he's trying to get back up here, he'd give his right arm to own some ground on the Rogue River.
There's a very uneven fight.
Yeah.
Two things. Money that can be pitted against the population here. And I'd like to say that there's a way of solving this problem so that you don't have to take the flack from us country folk, and that we don't have to spend our time fighting such a project. And that is that since we are from the country, we know how to possibly kill a snake. You kill it at the head. And the head of this project is the port of Coos Bay and the LNG.
Many of you gentlemen are willing to forfeit 80% of your current retirement plan for this project.
No.
Who is willing to give up 80% of your retirement plan? Because that's what you're asking me to do. The value of my piece is going to plummet. Plummet. Whether this gas line lasts for 1,000 years, its mere presence is ripping money out of my pocket that I worked 35 years for.
Hear, hear.
How many of you up there would forfeit 80% of your retirement plan for this project? Because that's what you're asking us to do.
That is exactly what you're asking us.
That's what gets this stuff.
Best interest, and it will be our obligation to compensate you for any take.
And it will come out 20%.
Well, that's your opinion, and I respect that, but that's not how Williams does business. We will evaluate your property. We will visit with you to help us to with that evaluation, and we will negotiate you a fair settlement to where if there's a severance damages or these other things.
You guys willing to give up 20% of your retirement plan?
All I can say is that we will negotiate openly and fairly with you and come to the market values or the effects that.
There is no compensation for quality of life and peace of mind. I'm sorry.
That's right. There is no amount of money. There is no amount of money.
The gentlemen who don't live around here, if you poison the road, you ruin the salmon fishing, you ruin our economy, you ruin our livelihoods. You don't have to suffer the consequences. You don't live around here.
Both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have said, we don't like this. Well, we're going to give them some reasons why. Because we are going to stop this. It is not going to come in to the Southern Oregon.